Have you ever noticed that strange moment between sleeping and waking? That liminal space where you're not quite here, not quite there? Most of us rush past it every morning, eager to start our day, check our phones, jump into the familiar routine. But what if that space, that intersection between consciousness and unconsciousness, holds the key to understanding who we really are? Think about it. Every morning, you reconstruct yourself piece by piece. Your memories flood back, your identity reassembles, your worries and hopes fall back into place like pieces of a puzzle. But in that brief moment before the reconstruction, who were you? And more importantly, who is watching this daily recreation of self? We spend our lives collecting labels, gathering experiences, building what we think is our identity. I am a parent, a professional, an optimist, a worrier, a dreamer. We wear these labels like layers of clothing, believing they define us. But here's the paradox. If you can observe these labels, these roles, these identities, then who is doing the observing? Most people live their entire lives in what we might call the surface world. They swim in the endless stream of thoughts, emotions, and sensations, never questioning who is doing the swimming. They feel anger and say, I am angry. They feel fear and say, I am afraid. They think thoughts and say, I am thinking. But have you ever stopped to question this automatic association? When you're watching a movie, you don't say, I am the movie. You know you're the viewer, separate from what you're viewing. Yet when it comes to our inner experience, we make this mistake constantly. We become so identified with every passing thought, every fleeting emotion, that we lose sight of our true nature, the awareness that witnesses it all. Let's try something right now. As you listen to these words, notice your thoughts about them. You might be agreeing, disagreeing, relating them to your own experience. Now, who is noticing these thoughts? Who is watching this mental commentary? This simple act of observing creates a subtle shift, a gap between you and your thinking mind. But here's where it gets interesting. This gap, this space between thoughts, isn't empty at all. It's alive with awareness. It's the canvas on which all your experiences are painted. And just as a canvas isn't affected by the pictures painted on it, your true nature isn't affected by the thoughts, emotions, and experiences that pass through it. Most spiritual traditions and modern psychologists talk about the ego, that constructed sense of self that we all carry. But they often miss something crucial. The ego isn't just our thoughts about ourselves. It's the very habit of thinking about ourselves. It's the constant internal narrative that turns every experience into a story about me. Think about the last time you felt embarrassed. Someone gave you a strange look, or you made a mistake in public. What really happened? An event occurred, and then your mind created a story about what that event meant about you. But what if you could see that story for what it is? Just a story? What if you could experience life directly, without the constant commentary? This is where most people get stuck. They hear ideas like this and think, yes, I should try to stop thinking so much, or I need to get rid of my ego. But that's just creating another story, another goal, another thing for the mind to chase. The real transformation happens not by trying to change anything, but by seeing clearly what is already here. Consider this. Every experience you've ever had has come and gone. Every thought, every emotion, every sensation, they all appear and disappear like waves on the ocean. But something remains constant through it all. Something is aware of both the presence and absence of experiences. That something isn't a thing you can point to or describe. It's the very awareness in which all things appear. This isn't just philosophical speculation. It has profound practical implications for how we live. When you begin to recognize your true nature as awareness itself, rather than the contents of awareness, something fundamental shifts. You stop taking your thoughts so seriously. You stop being at the mercy of every emotional wave. You stop trying to fix yourself because you realize there was never anything broken. But let's be clear. This recognition doesn't mean your thoughts and emotions stop. It doesn't mean you become some kind of detached observer of life. Instead, it's like waking up from a dream while the dream continues. The characters in the dream keep playing their parts. You're no longer confined to a single role. You're the space in which all roles appear. This is where modern psychology and ancient wisdom converge. What we're talking about isn't some mystical state or special achievement. It's your natural condition, hidden in plain sight. It's what you already are, beneath all the layers of conditioning, beneath all the stories about who you think you should be. Think about your earliest memory. Now think about your most recent experience. Notice how different these moments are, how much has changed between them. Yet something in you has remained unchanged, unaffected by the passage of time. That unchanging something is what we're pointing to. But here's the challenge. You can't think your way to this recognition. You can't use the mind to get beyond the mind. It's like trying to bite your own teeth or see your own eyes without a mirror. The very act of trying creates the illusion of separation from what you're seeking. This is why traditional meditation often misses the mark. People sit quietly, trying to achieve some peaceful state, trying to control their thoughts. But what if there's nothing to achieve? What if your natural state is already perfect, already complete? What if all the seeking and struggling is actually what's keeping you from recognizing what's already here? Consider how a cloud forms in the sky. It appears seemingly from nowhere, takes on various shapes, and eventually dissolves back into the sky. Was the sky ever really affected by the cloud? Did it need to do anything about the cloud? Your true nature is like the sky, boundless, unchanging, unaffected by whatever appears within it. This brings us to perhaps the most radical implication. If you're not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your experiences, then who are you? The traditional answer might be consciousness or awareness. But even these are just more labels, more concepts. The reality is both simpler and more profound. You are that which is aware of reading these words right now. But don't take this as another belief system. Don't accept it because it sounds good or makes sense. Test it in your own experience. Notice how every thought, every sensation, every experience comes and goes, while something in you remains constant. Notice how you can be aware of thinking without being the thoughts. Notice how you can be aware of emotions without being consumed by them. This isn't about reaching some special state or having some profound experience. It's about recognizing what's already true, what's already here. It's about seeing through the illusion of being a separate self that needs to get somewhere or become something. The beauty of this recognition is that it's always available. You don't need to sit in meditation for hours or study ancient texts. You don't need to change your beliefs or adopt new practices. You just need to notice what's already here, what's already aware, what's already free. As you go about your day, let this question simmer in the background. Who or what am I really? Don't try to answer it intellectually. Don't try to figure it out. Just let it create a space in your consciousness, a gap in the usual stream of thinking and doing. Notice how your attention usually moves from thought to thought, experience to experience, constantly seeking something new, something better. But what if there's nothing to seek? What if everything you've been looking for is found in the looking itself? This is where true freedom lies, not in controlling or changing your experience, but in recognizing that you are not the experience itself. You are the open, aware space in which all experiences arise and pass away. But remember, this isn't about achieving some permanent state of enlightenment or transcendence. It's about seeing clearly what's already true. The thoughts will still come, the emotions will still arise, life will still present its challenges. But when you know yourself as the awareness in which all this appears, you're no longer at the mercy of any of it. Think of it like this: you are not the weather, you are the sky. The weather, your thoughts, emotions, experiences, will continue to change. But just as the sky isn't harmed by storms or enhanced by sunshine, your true nature remains untouched by whatever passes through it. This recognition has practical implications for every aspect of life. When difficulties arise, you don't need to struggle against them or try to fix them. You can allow them to be as they are, knowing that you are the space in which they appear, not the appearances themselves. When joy comes, you can fully enjoy it without trying to hold on to it. When pain comes, you can fully acknowledge it without being consumed by it. This isn't detachment or indifference. It's the foundation for genuine engagement with life, free from the constant need to control or manipulate experience. As we come to the end of this exploration, remember, what we're pointing to isn't something you need to achieve or become. It's what you already are, what you've always been. The only thing needed is to see through the illusion of being something else. Take a moment now to simply be aware of being aware. Notice how this awareness is already present, already perfect, already complete. Notice how it doesn't need to be maintained or improved. Notice how it's the one constant in all your experience, the silent witness to every moment of your life. This is your true nature, hidden in plain sight. And recognizing it is the beginning of true freedom, not freedom from experience, but freedom within experience. Freedom to be fully human, fully alive, fully present to whatever life brings, while remaining grounded in the unchanging awareness that you are. Let this understanding settle into your being, not as a new belief or philosophy, but as a direct recognition of what's already true. Let it inform how you move through the world, how you relate to others, how you face life's challenges and celebrations. Remember, you are not your thoughts about this. You are not your understanding or lack of understanding. You are the awareness in which all understanding and confusion arise. Rest here in this recognition and let life unfold naturally, spontaneously, freely. The journey of self-discovery isn't about becoming something new. It's about recognizing what you've always been. It's about seeing through the illusion of separation and recognizing the boundless awareness that is your true nature. Everything else is just weather passing through the unchanging sky of your being.